everybody, this is Charles for Premier Guitar, and I'm at the SourceAudio booth at Winter NAMM 2012. This is Brett. What's up, man?
How's it going?
Good to see you. And Brett's going to take us through some new stuff from SourceAudio at the show this year. We're also going to meet Nathan up there. Nathan is a dubstep master on the bass, and we're going to hear a little bit what he's doing with some of the new SourceAudio stuff as well. So, Brett, tell us what we're looking at.
So the new products we're showing this year at NAMM are the Soundblox 2. So actually we have 3 different pedals. They're called Soundblox 2, and they are an extension of the Soundblox pedals that we've been releasing over the past couple of years. The main new feature is really the fact that they're just much smaller. So actually the old Soundblox Pros, you can see one right here, much bigger. And so we tried to shrink down that functionality. You get the same sounds in a much smaller package. We took the hard plastic casing and then we swapped that out. We made it into a cast aluminum casing now. So these guys are rugged and they're going to last a long time. So basically Nathan's got a setup here. He's trying to emulate a dubstep wobble bass, and the primary tools he's using to make that sound are the multi-wave bass distortion, which gives him this really sort of synthetic sounding distortion. Makes the bass sound almost like a synthesizer, and then that's going into the envelope filter here. He's got the hot hand receiver here, so as he moves his hand around, you're going to hear the wobble coming through the bass.
All right, cool. Nathan, step it.
On the guitar side, we actually did the same thing, the multi-wave distortion, which is by far our best-selling guitar effect. This has been shrunken down the original size. Like before, we had the Soundblox Pro here, a little bit bigger. We've shrunk that down into the smaller form factor. A couple of little tweaks we made. So before we had this 7-band EQ that you could set up for all the presets. Now we've shrunk that down into just a 3-band EQ here. You have treble, mid, bass. Gives you, you get some more tonal shaping possibilities there. I guess maybe a little less flexible, than the old graphic EQ, but maybe a little more user-friendly. We also added a noise gate. That's a new feature. So when you have the distortion really cranked up, maybe you have like the compressor stage also really cranked up. You can set up the noise gate so that when you're not playing, you're not going to get external noise coming through and coming out of your amp. So actually, this is, like I said, a redesign of an existing product, but if we move up here to the Dimension Reverb, this is actually an entirely new product. So this is our first attempt at making a delay and reverb kind of based effect. And just like our other products, the whole theme behind SourceAudio products is multi-effect, single effect. So it's a single effect in the sense that it's a reverb, but it's a multi-effect in the sense that you have a whole bunch of different kinds of reverbs all contained in one unit.
Dude, what is E-Dome?
E-Dome is the Enormo Dome, and you can crank up the delay time on that and the reverb time, and it just gives you this huge tail. It sounds like you're in a cathedral or something.
Cool, I want to go and never come back.
Yeah, we have also, in addition to the reverb in there, we have echo, so that's like your standard delay effect, somewhere in the neighborhood of about 4 seconds of delay, and you can set up the feedback, just make it infinite, just have it go forever, almost like a looping pedal. The cool thing about this reverb pedal is actually that we have hot hand control for it and expression control for it, which is really kind of weird. Maybe something that nobody's really done before. And what that allows you to do is modulate any one of the parameters you want using an external modulation input. So I can show you a little bit later. I can use the hot hand and I can do some kind of record scratching sounding technique. Really weird. Hard to explain, probably easier to...
Let's do it, man.
Yeah, I'll do it.
We're back, but now Brett's got a guitar, as you can clearly see. So what are you going to do with this guitar thing?
So actually, like I said, we have reverb here, but we also have echo. So I'm just going to start out with echo, and we'll move on from there, go through some of the reverb sounds. I can set up the feedback just to go forever on this thing if I want. And you can hear as it goes on, I actually have some diffusion in there, so the reverb time is actually sort of changing a little bit over time, so the echoes are overlapping on top of each other. So you can set it up to do that if you want. You can also set it up to not do that. You'll get a perfect copy. Every time it'll just go forever. So we have some settings in there to emulate kind of tape saturation, tape reverb. You can also do a pure digital reverb if you want. Same thing with the echo, pure digital echo. So it's very, very tweakable. It looks like we only have 4 knobs on here, but actually technically a lot of them are multifunction. So you have about 9 parameters that you can mess around with for each of the different reverb settings. So yeah, right now I'm actually going to go to a spring reverb, and I have a real spring on the amp, so I'm just going to play through our spring first, and then I'll give you a real spring for comparison. I think it sounds pretty similar. So that is our spring, and now I'm just going to turn this off completely and turn on the real spring on the amp so we can get a comparison. So I don't know. I think it sounds pretty good. Well, now the Enormo dome that you were.
What we've been waiting for, folks. The Enormo dome.
So actually, if I set the reverb time way up on that guy, it's not on. Sorry. That would help. Yeah. There we go. Just set the time way up, it'll go forever.
It's killer, man. I'm there. In the Enormo dome.
So a couple other just little features on we have like pre-delay, so you can actually do a kind of slapback thing. Let's see if I can get a slapback echo going here, or maybe I'll go to spring. So typically a spring is going to start reverb right after you hit the note, right? But I can go over here to my pre-delay and I can give a little extra. So we have a little bit of a delay there. So that's the kind of effect that you couldn't get with a normal spring. It just gives you a little more flexibility with all these parameters to tweak.
On the other side of the canyon, sort of.
Right, exactly. Yeah. So last thing I want to show you is just like every other SourceAudio effect, if you turn all the knobs to 11, you get something really weird that you've never heard before. And in the case of the reverb unit, we have a hot hand controllable delay time, which is just crazy.
Here's your hot hand.
So yeah, got my hot hand on my finger. I'm going to turn the external control on the reverb unit. I'm going to put in a little distortion just to make it sound as weird as humanly possible. And I'm going to hit a note.
Terminator exit!
So feel free to mess around with that as much as you want. You can also use the expression pedal that we have here to do the same thing. Actually, now right now I was messing around with the delay time, but I could actually mess around with any parameter I want. I could have it control the wet-dry mix. I could have it control the pre-delay. I could have it control the tone shaping. Anything you want. You can use an external control input, or you can use the hot hand, anything you want, and you can tweak and modulate to your heart's content.
That's awesome. I kind of almost have a headache, but a really great one. That's rad, man. Thanks a lot, Brett. I appreciate your time, man.
Thanks a lot.
Great work you guys are doing. All right, everybody. Thanks a lot. Oh, thanks to Nathan, too, wherever you are. This is Charles signing off from SourceAudio for PremierGuitar.com.